This is how to blur something on CapCut. The first thing you want to do is import the clip into the CapCut timeline. Here basically I've just imported a car, and what we're going to do is try to blur the rego of the car. So the next thing that we want to do is basically duplicate the clip and add it on top. So what we just do is with Option and we drag the clip on top, and then it's going to duplicate the clip and we have the same clip twice. And what we're going to do now that we have the two clips, so the idea is to add a mask around the upper layer clip, and we're gonna blur this mask. To do that, we just basically go under mask and then select rectangle shape or whatever shape that you need to blur. And what I do after that is I resize the mask and I put it just around the rego of the car. But then, as you can see throughout this clip, is that the car doesn't stay in position. So we need to make sure that the mask will move and will follow the rego of the car. And so to do that, we're going to add keyframes. We just select on the right side, keyframe. I select the three, but basically you can see there is position, and you can click, and then that's gonna keyframe the position of where is the mask. There is rotation, which is how the mask or how the rectangle is rotating, and then the size, meaning like if you want it bigger or smaller, and if you change the size throughout the keyframes, it's gonna change the size. And now that we have the keyframes, what we need to do is position those keyframes throughout the clip. So what I just do is I go to the very beginning of the clip, and then the keyframe is already selected, so there is no need to select that, but then I just move the mask on top of the rego. And then I do the same thing, and I go to the end of the clip, and I say this is where it finished with the keyframe. Because the car moves from one point to another, but it goes a bit everywhere in different speed, it doesn't mean that the keyframe is going to follow the car. And what I do after that is every 3 frames, I go forward and then I reposition the mask so that it's on top of the rego of the car. So it takes a bit of time depending on how long your clip is that you need to blur. But then basically that's the process. And then once we have the mask set up all the way through the beginning of the clip to the end of the clip, then we're going to go into the effect, and then we're going to find our blur effect. And then we simply just add the blur effect into our clip that we've just keyframed with the mask, and then it just adds a blur onto that clip. And so we have one clip, upper layer, that is masked and that is blurred. And then what we can do now that we have the blur, and to make it a bit more smooth, is just you can add some rounded edges and add some feather so that it's a bit more smooth and it looks a bit better. That's basically it. That's how to blur something on CapCut. Write me a comment with the word car if you find this video useful, and I'll see you next one.